Welcome back to the Analysis Corner. Today, we'll be reviewing Hans Christian Andersen's The Emperor's New Suit. Please do not take any of the information I share in this video as source or research material. This is just a mental exercise meant to incite your curiosity and perhaps encourage a deeper look into these seemingly simple stories. I'm going to give a summary of the story, but if you want to hear the full version, here's a link to the video. The story begins with a vain emperor who spends all his money on the only thing of interest to him: new clothes. He lives in a bustling city that welcomes people from all over the world, and one day meets two swindlers who convince him that they can produce a type of cloth that is exceedingly beautiful and fine and possesses the quality of being invisible to those who are unfit for his office or unpardonably stupid. The emperor seizes on this idea of a magical cloth, thinking he can use it to figure out who among his court are unintelligent and not worthy. He decides to employ these thieves and provides them with the finest silk and gold cloth to weave. While he is fairly confident that he will be able to see the cloth, the emperor sends an honest old minister to check on the thieves' progress first. The minister sees the thieves working on an empty loom. Fearing he might be stupid and unfit to be a minister, he agrees with the thieves that the cloth is beautiful and listens to them describing its wonderful colors and patterns. The emperor sends an honest courtier to do a second inspection, and even though this man is confident that he is not stupid, he too pretends to see the non-existent cloth for fear of being called unworthy as a courtier. When the emperor and the rest of the court finally go to see the cloth, they are all shocked to see nothing. However, believing that everyone else could see it, they all pretend and praise the cloth as the most beautiful they have ever seen. The royal court even suggests that the cloth be used to make clothes for the emperor to wear during a grand procession. The thieves are provided with all of the expensive material they request for this project. As before, they hide the silk and gold and work on sewing and cutting thin air for show. When it's time to dress the emperor, they hold their hand out as though carrying something and mime putting on his trousers, coat, and cloak. The emperor and his court all continue pretending to admire the beautiful clothes and assemble themselves for the procession as though they are helping to hold up a delicate train. Finally, in the middle of the procession, a child in the audience calls out that the emperor is not wearing anything at all. The rest of the crowd start to whisper to each other until everyone agrees out loud. The emperor and his court, however, muster up as much dignity as they can and finish the procession, continuing to pretend that the clothes are real. Hans Christian Andersen's The Emperor's New Suit was first published in 1837. It is a well-known fairy tale, commonly touted as a criticism against the greed and vanity personified by the emperor, contrasted by the purity and innocence of a child, who is the first to speak the truth during the grand procession. The story is also said to be a lesson on being honest with yourself and trusting your instincts, because just following the crowd may end up making you look foolish. These are indeed wise sentiments. There are, however, some additional details in the story speaking to the fact that being an adult entails a lot more complexity than a child can grasp, and that honesty may not necessarily be the best policy. The thieves are the driving force behind this story. When they enter the scene, they very cleverly go on the offensive by introducing their wares as being so fine and wonderful that they cannot be seen by those who are not fit for their office or who are unpardonably stupid. In other words, you need to be smart, dignified, and worthy to see this stuff. They count on the fact that everyone will believe that everyone else can see the cloth. In a more general sense, the thieves want their victims to believe the others around them are privy to special knowledge or ideas that support the greatness of an object, idea, or service. They are preying on their victims' pride and fear to force them to go along with the farce. When various members of the court inspect that thieves' work, the scoundrels boldly ask them how they like the cloth, and knowing they need to be able to describe this beautiful product, go on to talk about the wonderful colors and patterns they are weaving. Later in the story, when they are dressing the emperor, they cleverly describe and name each item they are putting on him, saying they are now putting on his trousers, his coat, and then his cloak. The thieves are essentially dictating to everyone what their product is, how to use or consume it, and then forcing them to like it, or they'll be stupid and out of a job. The thieves' method appears to be using the psychology behind mass consumerism, but focused solely on the microcosm of the emperor and his immediate court. The emperor, using his own kingdom's money and resources, is paying a fortune for their goods and services. He and his courtiers are being told what they are supposed to like under the promise that it will make them look or feel good, and in the end, they get poorly made or insufficient products for their trouble. In the story's case, they get absolutely nothing. Now, let's take a look at the other characters in this story to see how dealing with the pressures put on by the thieves shows how hard adulting really is. Our main character, the emperor, is very clearly shown from the outset as a frivolous and vain person. He is said to not care for his soldiers, and the theater did not amuse him. He spent all his money on clothes. This is so well known that his own people say he is in his cabinet, while he is spending hours playing dress-up in his changing room. He already believes himself to be clever and worthy of his position as emperor because his first thought on hearing the thieves' claims that only those who are unfit and stupid cannot see the cloth is that he can use it to weed out bad officials. Yes, this can be seen as a childish and vain exercise because he only wants the smart and worthy around him, but ensuring you have a good group of advisors around you is a good strategy for a leader and is something a responsible grown-up needs to consider. The first person the emperor orders to inspect the cloth is the honest old minister. He's described as intelligent, and nobody understands his office better than he. It's no surprise that the minister sees nothing, but he fears he might be stupid and not fit for his job, so he plays along because he's scared of being humiliated and losing his job. An honest courtier is the next person sent to check on the thief's progress with the cloth. He can't see anything either, but unlike the minister, he knows he's not stupid. What he fears is that he's not worthy of his appointment. He lies about the cloth because of fear of losing his position in society as a member of the royal court. When the rest of the emperor's court are called in to check the cloth, they all pretend to see it because they each believe everyone else can. They're so scared of losing their jobs that they even carry on with their duty to advise the emperor by suggesting that the cloth be used for the emperor's clothes at a grand procession. During the procession, a child in attendance is the first one to say the emperor is wearing nothing. He's not affected by the words of the thieves because he's not concerned about his reputation or looking intelligent in front of other people, and he doesn't have a job to be concerned about. This child's voice begins a ripple effect among the crowd, who all finally admit that there is no cloth. The emperor and his court all accept the truth that there is no cloth. However, They all finished the procession and walked through the city streets with greater dignity than before, as though the clothes were actually there. For the emperor, it's a matter of pride and of finishing what he started. For the courtiers, it's once again about their jobs. They need to stay the course and follow the emperor because it's what they do for a living. In the end, even though the entire populace admits that there is no magical cloth, the only ones who actually say it out loud are the child and the crowd. These are the people who have nothing to lose. Circling back to the thieves and their clever use of marketing, the emperor and his court come to represent adults who have to navigate the world where you need to maintain a certain reputation in order to achieve success. Once you have that success, you need to find ways to maintain it, or you will lose what you have worked for. Outside of the emperor, who is very clearly shown as a frivolous character from the beginning, none of the other court members are bad or disreputable people. The minister and the courtier are even described as intelligent and men worthy of their positions. The issue is not really lack of honesty. It's about making considerations on the best course of action to preserve your livelihood and that of your family. This is not to say that lying and cheating to get money and success are the way to go. The point is, there is a delicate balance between behaving like that child and blurting out the first thing he saw, and doing what the courtiers did and pretending that everything was okay when it clearly was not. Unfortunately, there is no clear-cut answer. What would you have done if you worked for the emperor? Thank you for joining me in another exploration of a well-known and loved fairy tale. I hope you enjoyed looking at the emperor's new suit at a slightly different angle. Until next time, I am, as always, your friendly resident ghost in the library.